ladies, and welcome to the Beauty Shaman. All right, under eye bags, dark circles, and double bag. Many of us have all of these issues, but what do you do about them? How do you cover them? How do you treat them? What causes them? That's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to show you how I covered my bags, my circles, and my double bags, and ended up like this, which, it's pretty well covered and pretty soft. So I'm going to teach you exactly how to do this. It's going to be really, really fun. Stay tuned till the end to learn some of my best tricks. Before we get started, please visit my website at thebeautyshamanstore.com and sign up for my newsletter for 20% off everything in my store. All right, let's get going. Okay, so concealer. So what causes the puffy eyes? Now, as you can see, I have puffy eyes. I have, this right here, which is very puffy. And I also have this right here. I'm going to put my head down so you can really see that double puffiness right here. What causes this? I mean, sometimes people say, oh, it's hereditary. I think less is hereditary than we want to attribute to it. So many times it's caused by what we eat. So if you're eating a high quantity of salt, that can really come out here. It also can be because of ill health. So one of the best things that I've done for my under eye is to do a liver cleanse. Or any sort of cleanse of heavy metals in the body, or a gallbladder cleanse, a kidney cleanse. There's different cleanses you can do. I'll put in the drop down below my very favorite. It's by Louise Gittleman. It's called the Liver Fat Flush Diet, or maybe it's the Fat Flush. I love that. And what that does is it cleans out your liver and your kidneys, which is what this a lot of times is also the lymphatic system. I think the other thing to keep on top of with eating is green leafy vegetables, things like walnuts and tomatoes. That's an anti-inflammatory diet. You can look that up online. It's very simple. Anti-inflammatory diet. Many of us have inflammation issues, and that's because in a large part of our diet. Sodas, I could go on and on. I'll put a video here in the corner about nutrition. I think nutrition, 80% of skincare is nutrition, 20% is external, what we put on our skin. Just always keep that in mind. I know it's the harder road. I get it. But it is the path that is the one that's going to bring you the best for your under eye area, in particular if you have very, very dark circles. And we're going to talk about what colors to use in your concealer in order to cover those here in just 1 second. Suffice to say, this for me is my lymphatic system. So when I wake up in the morning, these are atrocious. But once I start walking around, or I like to run in the morning or go for a walk or do something to physically move my body, I find when I get back, they're a lot better. I didn't go for a run this morning, hence they're really puffy. The other thing you can do is one of my other favorite tricks, and it's very simple, is to buy one of these rollers. This was maybe $10. You can also use ice, like an ice pack, or cucumbers is the old way to do it. You just put that on your eye. So I'll show you what I do. So I just take this and I roll it. I just took this out of the freezer, so it's really super cold. And you can't just roll it for like a minute. Like people get like, oh, it doesn't work. Helps to move it out of the system. All right, now they're nice and red because I've just put something cold on it. So I'm going to use what I normally use. I'm just going to use a little bit of serum. That's all I use around my eye. I use my vitamin C serum. So I would say get yourself a good vitamin C serum. If you have questions around that, check out this video. But vitamin C serums are great. Most eye creams contain some form of vitamin C. So I'm going to put mine on. This is the one I always use. And if you watch my channel, you know I love this line. It's called Truth Treatments. And full disclosure, I sell this. You don't have to buy this one. I'm just being full disclosure or being completely honest. I love it. It's fabulous. It's 80% vitamin C. It's also not an inexpensive product, but for me, it's really worth it because I love what it does. All right, and then I'm just going to put this around my eye. I also put this above my eye, but because I already did my brows and eyes, just to simplify things here, I'm not going to do that. If you have crepey lids, I would say that's a health issue. I did do a video on crepey lids. I'll put that in the corner. But I would say use your C serum on your lids, and that will really help with the crepiness, which will also help with putting makeup on your skin. Okay, so concealers. So what concealer you use is really important, and that has to do with the undertones or the tones used in the concealer. Many of you use a concealer that is inexpensive, and a lot of times the really cheap ones are just too thick. It's just too dense. It doesn't set well in fine lines. It's important to get a really good one. You can go cheap on a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm a professional makeup artist, so I don't go cheap on hardly anything because I really can't get away with it, being on, HD 4K cameras. However, and talent being on HD 4K cameras. However, I would say you can get one for like $20, $25. And I'll put some down below. I'm going to recommend a few, but I would invest in a good concealer. It really does make a difference in how it sets in fine lines and what it looks like. But let's talk about color tones because this is really important. Many of you have a hard time. All right, so I'm going to bring up a color wheel here and we're going to talk about this color wheel. It's a beautiful color wheel. And I think if you know the color wheel to even a minimal extent, you're going to know how to cover your eyes. You have brown around your eyes, as so many and different ethnic groups have different shades of brown. You need orange or peachy, right? So it's different shades of orange on the color wheel. And that is going to help to neutralize the brown that you have around your eyes. And if you're very, very fair, you have to go towards peachy. Okay, so what about if you have a lot of yellow? Like some of you are more yellow and sallow. I did a video for how to make up sallow skin. I'll put that in the corner again, but that's really good because she has a lot of yellow. All right, so the way to know how to treat that, go to your handy dandy color wheel here. There's yellow, and you want to go to the opposite. The opposite of yellow is what's going to cover that, okay? It's also a complementary color, so if you wear yellow and purple together on your clothing, they're complementary and it's really pretty. However, that's also how you cover. Use a concealer with a rosy undertone, and that'll help to take out that yellow and make it less sallow. If you have a lot of pink and purple around your eyes, like many of you, discoloration and hyperpigmentation, that sort of thing, that ends up being pinky purpley, or maybe you've got a lot of pinky purple right in here, you want to use a warm undertone concealer. So a yellow based concealer. Really simple, right? One really good trick is if your skin is very sallow in this range, use a blue tint in order to brighten it. So the color wheel is incredibly helpful. If you have green eyes, guess what brings out green eyes? More in this family. So really good way to figure out your colors. Okay, so how do you cover all of this? If you just take a color, if you watch a lot of videos, say on Instagram, or women who are a lot younger and don't have the issues that we have, I would say that's like really, really bad advice because they take, a really heavy concealer and they put it all the way under and they pull it out. If you've noticed this, it's like, and they yank it all the way out here and then they take a sponge, like a heavy duty sponge, and then they really get it in the skin. Okay, that's if you don't have what we have under our eyes. Many of you don't, and that's great. But if you have what I have, that is like the kiss of death. And then when you smile, it's all crinkled up and nasty. Even the best of concealers can't manage that. That's hard. You have to have very young skinned, got to be in your 20s, maybe mid 30s in order to pull that off. You get older, doesn't work. Okay, so this is the palette I'm going to use. This is a MAC palette, and I'm actually going to use a little bit of this because I've got a lot of color in my skin. I live in Ecuador, if you don't know that, so I'm in the sun constantly. I do use SPF, but you're out in it all the time. It's great. So I'm going to use kind of a blend of these two. I know that's hard because I'm blending, but it's because my skin color is kind of in between right now. Any case, you want to match or go slightly more than your natural skin tone with your concealer. You do not go an entire shade lighter. Then if you put that light color on the puffiness right here, you know what's going to happen? This is going to glare out because here's a key point. Write this down. Light brings out, dark recedes. Do not think I can just put a light color all the way under and it's going to just go away. It won't. It'll make it look worse. And I'm going to dip into this color right here because this is my skin color basically, but it's heavier than the foundation I'm using. And I'm going to pull this underneath right here. And maybe a little through here. Now I've got another puff right here, a little puff. I've got a puff. So I'm going to take this around that. So I'm just going in the indentation part, right? And then I'm going to tap it in. Okay, that's already looking better. You can really see the difference, okay? I'm going to put it down so you can really see. All right, now I'm going to go with this color, which is a shade darker than my skin. And I'm going to put that right on the puffy bits. I'm not going to take it all the way across. This is really, you have to kind of have a soft hand for this, right? I'm just going to take out that puffy bit right there. Tap it in. See the difference? Isn't that cool? Again, I'm going to go down. So you can see it's still there, but it's not bad. Now I am going to powder this, and you kind of have to because you're putting quite a bit of product on. But I'm going to use this highlight. This is a yellow undertoned highlight. And I'm going to put it, I could use a rosy undertone, but I'm going to use this one. Same idea, right in the indentation part. And then tap. So highlight makes the light hit it and bounce. Concealer doesn't do that. Concealer covers. It's a fairly dense product. Highlight, on the other hand, is not. It's more sheer, and it has light reflecting properties. All right, I'm going to put a little powder on. This is MAC Blot Powder. It's basically an oil absorbing powder. You want a very sheer powder, not a foundation powder. Many of you love your foundation powder. I have to tell you, I'm not a fan. I don't like it on older skin. I prefer a liquid or a cream that is very translucent. Well, I hope you found this helpful. Please write down below if you have any questions or contact me directly. My email, all my information is in the drop down below. Thank you so much for watching The Beauty Shaman.